Previously on Self-Critic Reviews. It's pretty unique to review and listen to rap tracks. Rap is a competition, especially collabs. Situation, frustration, innovation, they are the easiest and most prominent rhymes in the English language. Welcome to Self-Critic Reviews, and today Self-Critic is gonna review Fight Song, the joint featuring Pharoahe Monch by Masta and Marco Polo from their latest record, A Brooklyn Story. It's been over 6 months since the album was out, so maybe the review is a bit late, but the music video has been released fairly recently, so it's not all random. When I first heard the song, I did not realize what it really was about. My initial impression was that it was mainly a motivational song similar to Till I Collapse or Lose Yourself, without any hidden message. Pharoahe used diseases as a metaphor to describe how ill he is and how this illness is transmitted to us, listeners, which I thought was clever. I don't know if describing yourself as ill to signify that you are great or amazing at something existed before rap, but it's safe to say that hip-hop popularized this expression and ingrained it into rap culture. And Masta Ace followed it up with a more standard motivational rap about not backing away from a challenge. However, this track gained a whole new meaning once I went to Genius and read that Masta Ace was diagnosed with multiple sclerosis in 2000s, and this song is about his struggle living with it. So now the pieces of the puzzle are really put back together. Pharoahe Monch isn't speaking to listeners, but to Masta Ace himself, and he even says it himself, I'm multiple sclerosis, designed for devout clear. Listen.
For the multitude, I'm multiple sclerosis. Vision loss so frustrating you'll pull hair. Cramp specifically designed for the Val Clear.
In case you didn't know, Duval Clear is Masta Ace's government name. And I think the reason I didn't think much of it is because I've been Ace's fan for over 10 years, been listening to his music on repeat for just as long, and I thought that I would know if Masta Ace was diagnosed with MS in 2000s if I'd been a fan this long. Apparently not. So this took me by surprise, and I can see how this specific line didn't really resonate, even though Pharoahe Monch is being very clear about it. The video also shows it clearly how Monch is speaking from the perspective of MS, and Masta Ace responds to it, not backing away from the challenge of fighting the disease by writing music. Very powerful message in my opinion. And of course, the song could still be about what I was talking about, and very likely double meaning was intended, but what's impressive is that the secondary meaning isn't forced as it could have been. From the perspective of the concept itself, it would have made more sense for Masta Ace to perform the chorus, because he's the one with the challenge to overcome. But Pharoahe Monch was probably the one who wrote it and has the better voice for it anyways. So I don't think the song lost anything at all from this decision. Now, let's move on to the technical aspects of this track, because no matter how good the concept is, it means nothing if the outcome doesn't sound good. The beat is phenomenal. Listen to the melody. It instantly puts you into the right mood to fight and challenge your inner struggles. Marco Polo really outdid himself here. And it's not just the melody that's amazing. The way this melody switches into the verse is pretty impressive too. Listen.
I see no need to disguise what I am or somehow surprise you with a clever rhyme.
So, what are we looking at here? The notes from the main sample are replicated in the fat bass, which is turned up in volume. And the sample itself is passed through a filter to remove lots of the highs so that the voice of the rapper is heard more clearly. But the melody's integrity isn't compromised, and you can still hear it if you want to. Then, in the next 4 bars of the melody, the main sample disappears, but not the bass, and that melody is replaced by a guitar.
Vision loss so frustrating you'll pull hair. Cramp specifically designed for the Val Clear.
It's a nice change for the sake of diversity and is fully justified, but yes, it's not as good as the main sample. Then the other build-up moments to the hook are nice, and the beat truly enters its peak in the chorus when the drums kick in. Listen.
Sure these other diseases can't see me. I write like it's never the wrong time to right wrongs. For me to push forward the whole night long. So even when I black out.
It's just an incredibly powerful transition from a musical standpoint, which is reminiscent to Phil Collins' In the Air Tonight when you hear the drums for the first time. With that said, if the beat has any flaw, it's the exact notion that there are no drums in the verses. It's clear that this was the intention, and it paid off because when the drums appear during the hook, it's that much more rewarding to hear the final product. However, yeah, the decision is understandable and justifiable, but it's lamentable that Marco Polo didn't even use some kind of light or lo-fi drums. Interestingly enough, I saw a video where Marco Polo said that originally the beat was with the drums, but it was Ace's idea to take them off.
Ace should have got co-production on that when I think about it. Just because when I made the original beat, there was drums in it, the whole thing.
It's not too late.
Yeah, that originally, the drums were rocking through the whole thing.
I couldn't write to the beat until he structured it the way I wanted, which was no drums in the verse. I couldn't write to it when the drums were in there.
Now, onto the rapping. Pharoahe Monch is a unique rapper who objectively has a strong flow, but not in the way I rate flows. And personally, I find it hard to listen to him sometimes. As opposed to using standard rhythm and place his syllables into accented and unaccented beats, in a chaotic manner, he semi-ignores it, not completely, but he does, and raps in a way to emphasize the pronunciation of his words with feelings, without much regard to the musical rhythm. Take this as an example.
I'm enamored with the relationship. I'm obsessive to the point that I hold on to your joints and won't let go. Usually move in slow motion till death do us part. Now that's devotion.
Especially when he says,
usually move in slow motion.
He used a very similar flow in 1994 in the song Bring It On by Organized Confusion.
Then I begin to give them a lobotomy. Follow me, I'm shaping your brain like pottery. All over the track, give me the P.
As you can see, Pharoahe Monch is trying to bring life to his words. He says he moves in slow motion by rapping in slow motion. He says he's shaping our brain like pottery by slowing down the word, as if your brain is actually getting rotated and brought into shape by pottery. Smart. I can say for sure that nobody raps like Pharoahe Monch. He is in a class of his own, but is it a good thing? Not for me personally, but objectively he's a strong artist and deserves praise and credit for what he's doing. So for me, it'd be easier to listen to Pharoah's verse if there were some kind of drums, because his rhythmical sense is so complex. Remember in Logic's review I expressed my opinion about situation, frustration, innovation rhymes? Well, listen to this.
You better be dedicated to sedatives and medication. I'll meditate, educate you on levitation.
And this is exactly what Logic could not do. It's a simple rhyme. Well, yeah, the internal parts aren't as trivial as one might think. You better be dedicated to sedatives. But it's effective because the lyrics are well written and delivered with conviction. Like this is the exact thing he wanted to say. The flow is amazing in these lines as well, not just objectively, but on a personal level as well. And overall, lyrically, the verse is strong too.
I'm the amalgamation of pain and fatigue culminating in your brain. I'm a disease.
The phrase amalgamation of pain and fatigue culminating in your brain is fantastic. Great word choice. When he specifies I'm a disease, it does sound a bit awkward, but it's not a flaw worth losing your hair over. Oh, and it was brought to my attention that I completely missed the following line.
Allow me to shake your hand before I enter your mind.
It's a powerful introduction line because it's a very clever and seamless pun on the shake your hand phrase, because shake your hand doesn't just signify a greeting, but it also refers to a condition when your hand is shaking constantly, which is one of the symptoms of multiple sclerosis.
You never heard of me. You'll listen when I attack your spinal cord and weaken your immune system.
This is awesome.
Excruciating pain, suffering that's atrocious. For the multitude, I'm multiple sclerosis.
In here, I'm not a fan of that's in suffering that's atrocious. Pharoahe Monch makes it work with his delivery, but whenever I see phrases structured like that, I feel the dissonance in writing. While it's of course grammatically correct to say suffering that's atrocious, a song that's great, a review that's subjective, I think it's not as prominently used in speech or writing. But all things considered, good lines. And especially for the multitude of multiple sclerosis.
I move alone, I work clean, gang up on your blood and trip you, I'm MS-13.
Pretty good wordplay here, even if slightly forced. The key words here are gang, blood, crip, and MS-13, referring to Bloods and Crips, the gangs, and MS-13, which is apparently also a gang. And MS is multiple sclerosis. Not a necessary line, but a good addition to the imagery Pharoahe paints.
I'm coming for all races and all rhymers. I'm jealous of Parkinson's and Alzheimer's. Trying to take my spotlight like diabetes. I'ma make sure these other diseases can't see me. I write like it's never the...
These lines are very well written and delivered. And it's also nice the way he used blurred vision, one of the symptoms of MS, to say, I'll make sure that other diseases can't see me, meaning that he'll infect them and take the spotlight from them. So yeah, Pharoahe Monch became a character for this song and pulled it off perfectly. And I honestly don't know what other MC would do a job as good as him. A$AP Rock maybe? Possibly. The hook on this song is amazing, starting from the drums, which I've described previously, to the lyrics, to the flow, to the echo when he says fight song, everything is perfect. And if Pharoahe Monch's verse was good, Masta Ace absolutely murdered his part. As I said before, rap is a competition, and Masta Ace won this track's battle, but to be fair, after this song, all listeners are winners really. For a collab to be this meaningful and this dope, I just have no words. The track delivered more than I could ever imagine. Masta Ace isn't usually diverse with his flows, and there are several patterns he sticks to. Some of those patterns aren't very interesting, but for this song, thankfully, he chose one of my favorite patterns of his. So not only the flow's good, but lyrics give me chills. It's like I can quote nearly the whole song and praise everything.
My spine tingling, vision's off and my fingers numb. He looking for a vicious fight, I'ma bring him one.
Almost giving me lose yourself vibes.
This kind of rap shows I refuse to be taken out. Lost in the woods, I find a map and I make it out. I'm magnetic, it resonates in my imagery. I won't be drained, I know he came from my energy. Ignore the pain, I won't be slain by my enemy. My eyes closed, I'm having talks with the inner me.
I mean, really, rhyming all over the place. The image painted is perfect, no corny lines, which Ace often uses, just straight to the point.
I'm unafraid of any challenge you wanna lay. In my path, I'm gonna laugh as you run away.
One of my favorite lines in the song. It just sounds so harmonious and powerful at the same time. I'm unafraid of any challenge you wanna lay. Unafraid and wanna lay sound powerful together as rhymes, and when it's joined by a strong meaning, strong motivational words, the effect is multiplied. Amazing.
But God bless me with flip-flops to walk in this hip-hop. So I can't be praying for leather shoes.
This line is the only one I find questionable in Ace's verse, which to be fair doesn't ruin it. Why do I not like it? I just think the comparison is a bit random and not too poetic or natural. For example, when Ace talked about being lost in the woods earlier, it worked because you imagine the woods, him being lost, and the image painted is dark. He is alone struggling. You get the drift. The image here though, imagining him in flip-flops and telling himself not to pray for better footwear, big deal. I mean, I understand the meaning that Ace should be thankful for what he has, but yeah, he could have chosen a better analogy.
Way back when you didn't know me, I wrote sloppy. I tend to write with the inner fight of a broke Rocky. That's the reason I'm focused more when I'm in the gym. Cause every day is a new chance to go win again.
These lines are amazing as well. Good comparison with boxing and gym, using it as a motivational means and face the challenge head on. The last two lines especially sound powerful. So to conclude, it's a masterpiece and one of Masta Ace's greatest tracks ever. And I'll never get tired of repeating that this guy is a legend. At 50 plus years old, he is still going strong, making music, and is an inspiration. While the same cannot, in good conscience, be said about more widely recognized legends like Rakim, Kool G Rap, and Big Daddy Kane. Masta Ace should be mentioned in the GOAT list above them, in my opinion. Thanks for watching.